What's up, everyone? Today is September 7th. It's a Tuesday. First day back from the long weekend. Always feels good. I took one trade today, one trade only, and that trade was on Tesla. I took Tesla calls. I netted around 762 US dollars with an investment of around, I believe it was $873. So not 100%, but definitely close to 100%. Okay, so let's get started with the trade review now. As always, I always start with the higher time frame because all my analysis stems from the higher time frame. Okay, so just from a daily perspective, what is Tesla doing? We are putting in higher lows. It's not the strongest stock compared to some of these other stocks. Stocks like Apple, Apple's breaking an all-time high almost every day. But nonetheless, Tesla was still relatively strong. We were making higher lows on the daily. We were stuck in this consolidation period too, so um, uh, my plan was to just take a break of that consolidation period, targeting 30-minute supply. So now that we have just a bigger picture of Tesla, I'm gonna go to a blank chart. Tesla blank chart, and we'll go over and create some levels and some zones as well. So this is just the bigger picture on Tesla from the daily time frame. As I said, we're making higher lows. We did break this mini consolidation period. We still have yet to break this longer consolidation period around 774. And once we do break that, we will definitely see a move back to 900 and then possibly even 1K. But let's go ahead and draw some zones out. So first thing I do is I draw my zone. So I just go from daily all the way till 30-minute looking for zones. I'm only drawing zones close in the area as well. I have this 4-hour, but this was used, so I don't really consider used zones. I like this 3-hour demand. I'm just gonna go ahead and mark that. Just to save time, I'm not going to mark it as 3-hour, but this is 3-hour demand. Now I go to 2-hour. Don't really see much. Let's go to 90 minutes. Also don't see too much. Let's go to 1 hour now. Don't really see much. 45. I will mark this as 45. When I do mark this as 45, I would go ahead and say 45-minute weak demands, because technically this does count as demand, but this rally on the next candle wasn't super strong, so I would probably just mark it as 45-minute weak demand. Actually, this is a lot better. So instead of that 45-minute, this 30-minute demand zone is much cleaner. So I would go ahead and mark this as 30-minute demand. So now that I drew my demand, two important demand zones in my opinion, I will go ahead and look for some supply zones. So same thing, daily all the way till 30-minute. Nothing on the 4-hour. Keep in mind that I'm looking for fresh supply and fresh demand. So 777 is still quite a bit low. 2-hour. 90. 90. 1 hour. 45. And then 30. So this, in my opinion, is I had another supply zone. Let me just go ahead and find it. Right. This, in my opinion, is clear 30-minute supply. This is also supply as well. So go ahead and mark these two boxes out. Just to save time, I'm gonna make this like this lighter color or dark, but just doing this to save time. So this purple box, whatever you want to call it, is supply. So keep in mind now, I drew out my demand and I drew out my supply. All of my zones are fresh, so all these zones have a very, very high probability of working out. So after that, I just go to a 1-hour time frame and identify some key areas of interest. So the area I really, really liked this morning was a 740.5 level, or 740. So I'll go ahead and draw it out first and then tell you why I like this level. Resistance. Go ahead and extend this to the left as well. Okay, so this is a level I was watching, 740.5. Notice how here it acted as resistance multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you go ahead, you fast forward into time, acted as resistance once here. It's pretty choppy to here, but it did act as a pivot level, acted as support, acted as resistance. And then what really validated this level is for the last week or so, we have been failing to get above 740.5. So every time we tried getting above 740.5, sellers brought us back down. So not only has this level acted as resistance in the short term, but even in the long term, buyers and sellers have reacted around 740.5. So now my plan is to simply take a break of this level, targeting 30-minute supply. So look how perfectly this worked out. One thing to keep in mind is a couple of people asked me, how did you execute so fast? Tesla went so quick off the open. So prior to the market, I had 3 of the 760 calls loaded up. I knew I would take this play relatively quick off the open, so I was prepared. You know, I wasn't struggling, I wasn't scrambling to find which contracts I would be playing last minute. I had everything set up, and at that point, I was just getting ready to execute. So a couple of confirmations for this trade was, one, we had very strong pre-market action. So this is very important to me. If I do play something off the open, I want to make sure that it's strong pre-market. So notice how Tesla gapped $6 in pre-market. If I go over to SPY and Qs were choppy / weak. So SPY was a bit, or Qs was a bit weak. I think the same goes for SPY as well. SPY was also a bit weak in pre-market. So all of those things led me to believe that, you know, Tesla had relative strength pre-market. So it definitely was strong. So that's one confirmation. We had strong pre-market. Second confirmation is when I did take this trade, look at the volume which poured through. There was over 1 million shares traded at Tesla today, while that has never happened anywhere in the short-term past. So not only is it strong pre-market, we have nice volume, we have nice thick-bodied candles as well. This supply zone is acting as a magnet. Institutions want to get their sell limits placed. And look what happens when we enter this box. As soon as we break over the highs in this box, the sell orders placed inside of this 30-minute supply were triggered, and now Tesla's moving back lower. That's why, as I always say, levels to supply and demand are it's a really high probability strategy. So in terms of execution, I can just go and say exactly where I entered. I entered exactly as we broke the level. I entered in the first 2 seconds of market open, so I was prepared. Took one off right here. So I entered 3 at 2.91, took one off here at 3.95. Actually, I took one off here, my bad, at 3.91. Took the next one off at 5.15 here. And at this point, knowing it's a Monday, knowing that premiums won't hurt my contracts too much, I had a plan. I had one contract left, and I told myself, when we hit 30-minute supply, I will sell this last contract. So as we pushed up into 30-minute supply, we missed it by about 20-30 cents. I was comfortable. We pretty much hit my target, so I sold my last one here at a price of 7.31, I believe. So that, I think that's over 100% on the last contract. So this was a very well executed trade. I followed my plan perfectly. My target was 30-minute supply, which was triggered. A couple of people asked me what my stop would have been. My stop would have been if Tesla in a 5-minute period failed to close above 740.5. So yes, we did break above 740.5, but if for some reason buyers failed to hold value above the 740.5 level, I would most likely wait for a 5-minute candle close. And if that 5-minute candle failed to close above 740.5, I would exit my position for a loss. So in terms of risk to reward, I probably would have risked around, I would say close to like 180, 150 on this trade, and in return I made 800. So risk to reward, this was very good as well. Last thing I want to go over in terms of confirmations is SPY and Q's actions. a couple of people DM'd me saying, weren't SPY and Qs weak? Why did you still take this trade? So for Qs, I had 45-minute demand which formed pre-market. So if you go here, I saw at the time this candle wasn't red, but what I had saw is Qs dip into 45-minute demand and then get bought up immediately. So in my mind, before this red candle fully closed red, I was thinking that okay, Qs is bouncing from 45-minute demand, which should help my Tesla play out. Same thing for us for SPY. It's not as clear, but I did see us hold pre-market low, especially on this 9:30 candle as well. We dipped below pre-market low and we started getting bought up for the first minute. Maybe if I go to a 1 minute, I can illustrate it a bit better. Yeah. So I saw this in pre-market as well. We dipped below pre-market low and then got bought up for a minute or two. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, Qs is bouncing from 45-minute demand, SPY is holding pre-market low, and Tesla is strong. So everything, in my opinion, lined up for this trade to work out, especially because we had strength in the morning, and all that was left to do was execute the play. And that's exactly what I did. So I think I covered everything in terms of this trade. I drew out the levels, I drew out the zones, I gave you the confirmations, I went over SPY and Q's action. If you do have any more questions, just hit me up on Discord. That's where I'm most active. And if you have any other questions, just leave a comment below and I will get back to you. But as always, if this video helped you in any way, please like and subscribe, and I will be back for the next video.